Hello and welcome to episode 15 of our Timberborn Update 6 Emberpelts hard mode playthrough here in Cycle 22, Day 1. Back at it in our previous series, or one of them, after some fun with Update 7. But last time, we got started with a whole bunch of improvements up here with the goal of eventually having a bot district that also produces most of our metal. And yes, other than that, probably not too much else we're going to be focusing on today, but there's still some stuff I want to address before we get too deep into all of this stuff up here. I asked you guys in the comments to let me know your thoughts on powering these pumps down here, and I think what we're probably going to end up doing, since we don't need to have this forester here anymore, is take this guy out, leave these wheels in place for now, and then put in an engine in this general spot here once that becomes something that's super necessary. But keep in mind, our water storage is full. We have 6,200 of it. I don't think it's going to be a problem, so we don't really super need to address this right now. And instead, I think there's one very important thing we do need to fix. That's right, Beaver Burr. Beaver Burr. That's incorrect. It's absolutely incorrect. So now it is Beaverberg with the G on the end. Once again, Beaverberg 23. All right. So all that being said, that's going to conclude today's episode. No, I'm kidding. Stupid joke, but it's fine. That needed to be fixed. Other stuff that we wanted to take care of, checking sluices to make sure that these are actually set correctly. Maybe adjust the contamination closing bits a little bit. But I think, honestly, this is probably fine. As long as they're all marked to synchronize. Doesn't really matter what the other settings are set to. It's just unsure. Nope, those are all looking good. I guess it's just an issue of a little bit too much backflow. Maybe need to widen it a little bit more. But that's something we can mess with at a later point in time. These are all fine. I could detonate this if we really wanted to, just to help this clear up a little bit, but I think now our energy is going to be better spent trying to get this up and running here. Of course, our bad water rig can't operate until all of this either evaporates or is pumped out. But I think, like I was saying, probably going to be better for us to just get the rest of this up and running. We need 10 more metal blocks to get this underground tank that is going to be storing fuel. I don't know why that wasn't actually set to fuel. I thought I'd taken care of that. But once that's in place, we can have metal smelting occurring. And we have all this storage here that we honestly probably could have done a little bit of a better job with. Because you take a look at what we're storing in here. Remember, the bricks down here at the bottom are for the mine. The scrap metal is what's coming out of the mine. So that's these two right here. But these are storing scrap metal and metal blocks, and there isn't really a good way for the scrap metal to get out of here and into here without going all the way up and then back down. So that's something we could probably pretty easily fix, I think, at the very least. Gonna have to get a little creative with how these are going to be connected, but I would like to take care of that. Probably easiest thing for us to do, I hate to say it, but it might be to remove one of these smelters and then build in something else here. But since we're already here and we have the option to take a look at how everything else is set up, unfortunately, this platform here is what's holding most of the rest of this stuff in place. But if we were somehow able to take a little bit more space out of here, like we do get rid of this guy. If we blast this down and then this space right here in the corner down, I can have a path run from here underneath. So that's something we're going to have to get into if we decide that's something that's worth getting into, and then at that point in time we'll get it figured out. Yeah, we're going super slow here with this water coming in. I would like for that to get here sooner rather than later, just so we can make sure nothing is going to be super terrible with getting water out. We also recently had to mess with all this stuff here, making sure there's enough overflow. Because remember, Height Shore Mod says this is height number 12, and it says this is height number 13, which should be music to our ears. But keep in mind, as you guys are very good at reminding me about, this is 28 CMS. this here, if I can get my screen going here, this is not, it's not going to handle all that much. So, like, even if this was lower, it wouldn't matter. This definitely cannot handle 28. So we will need to get more of this blasted away. Probably the easiest way to do that is going to be to just come in from this side and blast some other stuff out. Remember, the Emberpelts do not like to get wet. So we'd be doing them a huge favor if we just blasted all of this out of the way and gave them the option of not having to mess with it. So I'm just going to, blow this whole thing to smithereens as an emergency overflow, and we'll go on and worry about other stuff. Now, to get that blasted out is going to not quite get us where we want to go, but we're gonna get closer. Another one of those in there, and then, well, we'll come back and see later on in time. But like I said, we do want to get bots up and running. We want to have kind of a nicer looking setup than maybe some of the other stuff we've done before, where we just kind of slap wherever it's going to fit. It would be very nice to have something that is going to have a more organized presentation, easy access to different resources. Remember, we do have metal blocks here, but the rest of the stuff that we need to make bots, take a look at the factories. Planks, gears, metal blocks, really simple stuff. But the bot assemblers do require the fuel as well, so that's already there. That's fine. But your planks go in a pile, the blocks, metal blocks go in a pile, and the gears go in a regular warehouse. And to make one of these bots, you need one chassis, you need 4 limbs, and 1 head. So if we go top to bottom, just follow me on my math here. I can't use my pointer unless I click on that. That's 5 planks, 9 planks, 10 planks. So without counting, planks turning into gears, you need 10 planks to make a bot. You need 1 block of metal. You need 2 blocks of metal. 10 planks, 2 blocks of metal, and 6 gears per bot. So depending on how you want to set things up, it probably doesn't matter to have any more storage of metal blocks. But we're definitely going to want a lot for planks, and I mean a lot. We've got them imported. Well, once the district crossing goes in here, remember we haven't built that yet. We're going to have space for that. And we've got options for storing both of these things. The underground pile only stores 1,800, while the underground warehouse stores 3,600. We also, remember, Emberpelts have these unique buildings. The large industrial pile will store 600, which is really great. Hey, bad tide time again. Okay, hold on. Are we flooding? This always happens to me. This always happens to me, man. Why is this closed? Oh, because the downstream depth is too high. All right. Fine. I'll lower the floodgates just to unflood everything. See, this is actually starting to make me kind of mad. It's like no matter what I do, something gets messed up. No matter what I do, and we have these dams here I'm supposed to replace with something else. It's not gonna matter. We're just gonna flood the entire thing, huh? All right. Sheesh. All right. There is no other way to avoid this. We've got to take out this entire thing and just let all of this water out immediately before it completely... Oh, no, it did. It's ruined. It's ruined the whole thing. Come on, man. Come on, man. I thought after all this time, this would actually be doable. Is that going to be enough now? Is that going to be enough now to stop overtopping this? Or will I continue to give people in the comments fuel to call me an absolute raging moron? Deservedly. Is this seriously still overtopping after all that? Don't tell me this isn't enough to get rid of all that. There's absolutely no way. There's no chance. There is no chance. Alright, well, I guess that's what we're doing. Just gonna open this too and then let all of our water go away. I hate it when this happens. Because now not only is this all completely flooded, this is flooded, and now I can't get across here. But it's stopped completely being stupid. All right. Well, those dams needed to go away anyhow. Now it's just a big problem. Yeah, good thing all our wheat died. That's nice. That's very convenient. All right. I guess I got to pump this out now. 8 days, that's not going to dry out. Not going to dry out. We'll just leave it alone. All the beavers are wet. They're angry. They're upsetty spaghetti. Well, this will dry out sooner or later. But man, that is just absolutely demoralizing. Now, if I shut this... If I shut this again, is it going to flood? Or have we kind of equalized? It's looking promising. Looking promising. I think we might have... No, is that rising? It is. How much is it rising? How much? How much is it rising? Well, if this doesn't flood... Nope, it's absolutely going to flood again. What kind of sacrifice am I going to have to offer to this thing? Come on. Alright, so open we go. Open we go. This will shut whenever the bad tide starts. But man, this is really demoralizing. Really, really, really demoralizing. I don't know what else. I don't know what else to do. These guys are all still super mad. But hey, at least it's not bad water flooding this, right? Anyway. We still have to decide how we're going to build all of our bot stuff. Man. What a drag. So this is going to be where all of our bad water comes up. It has to be turned... I'm so paranoid about this. Yeah, we're just going to leave this like this. Bad water is going to be coming up out of here. It doesn't have to, mean that everything gets built here, but again, I do want stuff to be in a kind of organized, neat-looking fashion here. Even if it means we have to redo some of this, I'm okay with that. But at the very least, I do want to have the ability to get up around here to bring in the rest of our stuff. This is not going to let me do that unless I get rid of this guy. And I don't want to hang stuff off the front here. Remember that the district crossing is going to go here. So it would make sense to have a bunch of storage pretty close. Fuel being something that is going to be fine to have here because that can be exported to the other district if we so choose, despite it being made in pretty good quantities over here. But I think this doesn't really have to be anything we need to worry about in terms of covering it up or whatever. We just need to build something that's going to make sense. And if we've already established, like I was trying to say before we had all that flooding we had to solve, that the underground piles, underground warehouses, aren't really going to be super useful for this scenario, then I'm totally fine just using large industrial pile because, again, this is a 600 capacity item, and large warehouses that will hold 1,200 because we need, we consult this again, we need 10 planks to make a single bot, which means we have to have tons of storage for it. But comparatively, we only need 6 gears and we need 2 blocks of metal. So, assuming everything else equal, I would be fine having about twice as much plank storage as gear storage. Roughly. Obviously, doesn't have to be exact. But for that to be a thing, then we'd have to build... Let's just say we build one large industrial pile at 600. We could build 2 medium warehouses for the gears. Or we just say, you know what? Build a large warehouse for the gears. We're never going to need 1,200 of them up here at one time. But I think it would be smart for us to take advantage of what we have access to here. So, how many times can I say so? Let's think about, we got an overhang here. If I build this guy, remember he's got a second story entrance, a large industrial pile like we built here. If I put him down one level here, that's going to mean that I could also bury one of these medium warehouses. We just have one on the top, and then this would all be on the same level. If I do that, I always have to remember which way the ladders are going, playing different versions of the game. If I do that, then that will end up looking pretty spiffy right here. No complaints. We can do all of the processing of all the parts elsewhere and then import everything, or we can just have everything get made here. It doesn't really matter. All we have to do is just make sure that whatever we choose to do works and doesn't look like absolute garbage. And then that's going to be fine with me. Of course, this still needs this one platform piece to go in. But if we can make that work, I know they can't build anything here until everything's reconnected, but I think it's going to be fine. Next thing we want to do, if we want to keep this open below, which we don't really need to, but it's still kind of fun. Still kind of fun to think about ways to do that. If I were to do this guy here instead as a couple of 3x1 overhangs with 3x1 overhangs like that, you know, that looks kind of neat. It's a little spindly, but hey, it's fun. Then I put that guy there. And then what we have to do at that point is make sure... Alright, bad tide has started. I have to pause. I know, I'm paranoid. Absolutely, completely paranoid. But I no longer trust any of this. Not even a tiny bit. Alright, so that's closed. Good. Do not flood. Do not flood. Just come through here. And go harmlessly off the end of the map. Beautiful. It is backing up here, which is, I guess, a good clue that we do need to increase the width of this. But it should even out, hopefully. No other problems, right? Like, we didn't accidentally just awaken Godzilla or anything. No? Okay, good. Problem solved. Oh boy. Well, now everything's reconnected. No problems to be found. And I'm going to do a little warehouse here. And a little warehouse here. Get these set correctly. Remember, if this is bad and you think it's bad, please let me know and we might be able to change it. Do something that's going to make a little more sense. But the reason I set this up was so we have a uniform height here in case we want to build something on top later. Or if we want to do something like, say, put in not a large industrial pile, but just a normal size one that we could then put some metal blocks in or something like that. But again, the main goal with this being here is to be close to where the district crossing is going to go and give that an opportunity to be nicely organized. So this guy going here is going to need to be replaced with one of these, assuming we're going to build something else later, which I will just go ahead and put that there in case that becomes true. Go ahead and put this here, that'll get those guys connected. And then once we actually start making bots, I will make this its own district. So that is going to be what happens with that. Now, we are currently making a lot of metal, or relatively a lot of metal. Should be totally okay. But we still have to build the actual bot part factories and all that other stuff. And while I did say I didn't want to hang them off this side of the cliff, I don't think it's going to be such a bad thing for us to have stuff connected to the other side here, whether it's directly or with some sort of shaft thing. Remember, these are 3x4 buildings, and we have space here that is 3x4 until we get to this little bit. If we wanted to do something like that, with a little bit in the middle, the bot buildings are 3x3. So if we want to have something kind of match, then this wouldn't be a great choice for that. But if we don't really care and we just want something to be generally connected to this, then we're not even going to need to worry about it. We just need to build some sort of platform. But I do like the idea of kind of covering this pit I think somebody left a suggestion that we could do that. So why don't we go ahead and try to get this set up. Remember, I always like to do 2 sets of bot part factories. And if we want to line these up, we're going to have to move this this path here, or just get rid of it entirely, because you know we don't really need to be worried about that. We just need the power to connect somewhere. Assuming we want to use this liquid fuel engine, which we are not obligated to do. And in fact, probably should build a 3rd one of these right here and just redo this whole mess. So we don't even have to worry about this at all. What we can do instead is we can just continue along this way, if we feel so inclined, and then have everything power networked together. I hope you can understand what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to talk about all the different options that we have for this, regardless of whether or not any of them are better or worse. Thinking through things always helps me out, and hopefully it does you as well. And if that's not the case, then, well, sorry. But it's always nice, in my opinion, to have stuff that makes sense. In my mind, it makes sense in other people's minds, and if I can't do that, then, well, that's another problem we're going to have to solve at a different point in time. But, remember, bot part factories going all the way across here. We will have space to put 3 of these plus a little bit extra. We could double stack them. We could even bury them down in here if we wanted to. Create kind of a little separate highway here, and then we could have storage for all of the bot parts in different spots as well when we do all of our assemblers and everything. And because we have 4 different, we have 3 different types of bot parts, and one of them we need 4 times as many as the others, it's going to make the most sense to make sure that we have what's going to be necessary for that. So, all that being said, once again, I'm going to go ahead and utilize this space we have here with this slope to kind of sink this down a little bit. If we're going to double stack, which I usually do like to do, keep things nice and compact, easy to transfer power, so on and so forth. Going to have to get this down 1, or 2. Wow, I'm batting 1,000 a day, folks. Get that done. Get that done. Sink this down to this level, and then from there we can build up. It's all going to make sense in due time. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got the science to unlock the bot part factories. Just put 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and then we have a 3x space here. If we want to end up moving this stack at some point in the future, we don't necessarily have to. But getting these in place will make more sense. I don't think we need to have additional storage for these other materials. This is a pretty compact area, and if it's all being run by bots, it's not going to matter anyway. Just got to do what we got to do. Although it does still really bug me that this likes to backflow, overflow, whatever. If I get rid of that, I don't think that's going to help our overflow bit at all. No, definitely not. So maybe it does need to be 9 wide here. As long as it has enough edges to go off of. I'll just leave that alone. Come back and deal with it later. You know what's interesting is I don't see an arrow next to the metal blocks like we have with the others. Remember, we have the goods statistics mod installed, which should give us general trends on production and consumption of different things, but nothing next to metal blocks. So are we in an equilibrium? Like, I don't think there's anything else we're actually using those for. Or we shouldn't be. Those are going to die in 4 days. Oh, this isn't alright. Man, this is what makes me mad. This is what makes me mad about this. Like, this is such a bad idea. I don't know why I did this. But I'm not going to be able to get the water out of here. We're going to have to avoid these apple trees dying, which, you know, isn't really that big of a deal, but it does take 24 days to get more apples out of it. We're going to have to just put a bunch of pumps in, or we can say, you know what, we got 1,400 of these things, and that's just the way it goes. If the trees die, we can replant them. But I don't want to have to replant these because I don't have a forester here. Well, then you could also say, hey, well, you're going to do terraforming and you're going to raise this up anyway, so it shouldn't matter, and then you're probably right. So I guess we'll just leave it be with whatever it's going to be, and then that's just how it is. Probably the better way to look at this anyhow. So, get these dynamites detonated. Get the process started once again, and then that's going to be what it's going to be. You know, another thing we could also consider, when I put these things in, I will have to have another liquid fuel engine, but these do generate 1,000 HP, and then these bot part factories only use 150 each, so that will get us to 900, having all 6 of those. So one of those would be fine here, and without building another one of these large smelters, that's going to leave us total across the network, in theory, an extra 400, which will allow us almost to run 2 bot assemblers. But then again, doesn't really matter that much. I think we'll probably end up being okay anyhow. So, like I said, going to put stuff in here. We have to have a walkway through the front of this, with the goal of connecting to this set of ladders as well. And keep in mind, we can, if we really, really think like it's necessary to do this, we can have this stack replaced or moved or whatever. And I do still want to connect to over here, which, you know, would actually mean I could draw from these gears as well to make the boss, but I don't think we need to worry about that. One more piece there. Come on, lag. Then do more here. And then all I have to do is put in a set of ladders on this side. And that's going to give us good access to down here. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would you do that when you already have this path here all the way across the front? And the simple answer is, I can. Then I don't have to move this out of the way, and then I don't have to build other stuff. The other answer is, this will create a lovely straight line all the way across here. You know how much we love that. So, that is what we're going to be doing here. Go ahead and get that situated like so. Put one of these here. Put one of these here. Then 3 bys here, here, here. Oh, you know what? You know what? We've got... Oh, we're going to make some ugly here. Yeah, do something super ugly, but it's fine. We'll get it taken care of. I got to get across this mine here, too, which is going to be, see. What's that? 3, 3, 3. Yeah, okay. 4 this way. And then 3 this way all the way across. That's going to get us nice and safe here. Along with this, I guess, could be a 4, but it doesn't really have to be. I just kind of feel like building with these things because they're kind of cool. Get that situated there. Let's get these selected. I guess it doesn't really matter which ones make what, but for some reason I always end up having to think about it like it actually matters, which it doesn't. That one's set to heads. I'll make that one to be that, and then limbs in the middle, and then heads down there. So once these are all built, we will have 6. We still need to put power in, but remember that's why I have these stacked. It's going to make it a whole lot easier to do that. And then we can also, depending on how we want to have this set up, we can either build the bot assemblers on top, which will, this will allow us to make 4 of them actually, or we can have stuff back here, depending on how we want to lay it up. And I know it's not going to be, you know, the most compact layout ever to just do some back on the backside here. But I think we're going to be set up to do... My brain just completely shut off. Set up to do something, at least. We don't necessarily have to have this here. Pay attention to what I mean, not what I say. I implore you. Bot assemblers on the back. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. That would line up quite nicely with this. And then in the middle, I can put a single liquid fuel engine here. Or I can have something else on this other side. We've got fuel over here. We can add more. But, you know, covering this whole thing with the production is kind of a neat option for us. We could do other storages here. Even if we don't move this, other storages here probably wouldn't be a bad idea either. You know, to just have all the rest of these pile things here. We already have metal blocks stored right next to it, so hey, planks and gears, probably not a bad idea. I know I'm going to change my mind like 3 different times, but that is just the way it goes with a lot of this stuff. A large warehouse for gears is complete and utter overkill. We're not going to need or want to do that. So what I will do is just pop in that guy there, and then nice, easy access to the rest of what we got going on here. Go ahead and put in another set of these guys here and here. And then there you go. So now we've created a super ugly thing here, and that's fine. Don't worry about it, because we don't actually have to have these fully connected like this either. We just take these out, and we can do either well-being, or we can do some sort of other thing for when they're eventually going to be bots. Remember, bots for the Emberpelts will also consume, I don't know why I tried to show you in the menus, but they will also consume this lubricant, so might not be a bad idea to put some of that there. We also have the control towers can go somewhere. Just different stuff we can do with this. But we do still have plenty of stuff to do back here. Get that constructed. Start the process of getting other things in place. Oh, I do need to put in a double platform here to get that other engine going. That's totally fine. Remember that we were thinking at one point maybe about putting a large smelter here. We haven't quite gotten there yet. It does need to be set to gears. It needs to be set to planks. And yeah, there you go. So bot assembler goes back here, and then of course we have to have the rest of those connected as we see fit. Not going to be a huge deal. So if I'm going to have 4 of these things, I probably want to come in. Actually, no, this doesn't need to be here. That doesn't need to be there at all. This is the only thing we need to be building. There we go. I don't know what in the world I was thinking there. 3 by 1, so that's going to be 1 more here. That's going to be for 3, and that's going to be for 4. So that is what we need to have access to do all of this. And then if we have to have another liquid fuel engine, we have to have another liquid fuel engine. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Let these guys do what they've got to do. And, all right, I know this is really disjointed, and it might have sounded like I was just completely out of my own mind describing what this was going to be, but this is a pretty neat and tidy result. It's going to take them a while to build it, yes, but when it's finished, it's going to be quite lovely, I think. And don't forget, we do still have to actually make the fuel, which we could either do there, or we could do in this spot right here. Don't forget, there's still some space left to fill. We do have to have more power than just this one liquid fuel engine is going to be able to put out, connected to all this. So if we did that, put in 1 more liquid fuel engine here, that leaves us, assuming we still want to use all of this space, a 5 by 3 spot. And what would fit in a 5 by 3 spot? That's right. 2, count them, 2 refineries opposing each other just like this. And they would be able to handle messing with the bad water recipe. And I think, friends, But that is going to be a very good way to round out what we're building here. Again, you gotta trust the process when it comes to me and my brain deciding that it's time to go check out and just mumble nonsense for a little bit of time. It ends up being something that is going to look pretty good, and I think we can be pretty happy with. As long as we're able to just, you know, put aside some of the, what the heck is this guy talking about, and then just do it. You know? So, that'll go there. And then these guys will go here, and we'll flip that just so that matches very nicely. Actually, you know what we can do? Make this look a little bit better. Flip that way. There we go. And then I've got space here to put a little tank of something, or we could just put in a tiny industrial pile full of charcoal. Do we need it there? No. Do I want to put it there? Yeah. Just little detail things. Alright, so I will spare you the misery of listening to me try to narrate exactly what the heck is going on here. And I'm just going to time-lapse this build. There's no reason to drag it out. So while we are doing that, we'll go ahead and we'll do our end of episode fun here. I know, oh no, the runtime on this point is only 37 minutes. Well, they don't all have to be long, and if I can accomplish a goal in an episode without dragging it out, and without trying to figure out all sorts of other whatever random nonsense to get done, then I'm going to try to do it, because I have to respect your time, first and foremost. It's very, very nice that everybody spends whatever time they choose to spend watching my videos, and I don't want to just hand out slop. If we're going to get something done, we're going to get it done, and if I'm sitting here rambling for 3 hours and then nothing gets accomplished, then, well, I don't know, people watch a whole lot of my stuff, which is great, but if the stuff they're watching isn't great, then what's the point? Not that I'm saying this is actually top quality content. I'm not really in that position at this point in this playthrough, but we're doing what we can. We're making whatever time we can make into whatever we can accomplish with it. So I really appreciate you being here, genuinely. We had a great time with the Update 7 stuff this past week, but it is time to start mixing everything else back into the fray as well, which is why this video is coming out today, on Monday, and we're going to have other series come back in as well, mixed in with the Update 7 stuff. So right now we're looking at Mondays for this series. We've got Tuesdays for the Update 7 stuff, and then on Wednesdays we're going to get back into Apocalypse mode for however long that lasts. And then the cycle just kind of repeats. So you have your other stuff come in. Thursday is going to be Update 7 again, so that one is Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But Friday we'll be back in this playthrough with the Emberpelts, and then Sunday we'll be back with Apocalypse mode until one or more series ends and we can move on to something else, or decide we want to hold a spot in reserve for the Ostriv Alpha 6 update whenever that comes out. It's supposed to be sometime this month, so we'll see if that holds true, if that ends up getting finished and released in any quick amount of time. But again, I do appreciate you being here, and I know it's a little bit of a struggle sometimes to get a competent amount of stuff accomplished in some of these videos. But I don't lie to you. This is my actual thought process, brain addled with nonsense and all, and that's the authentic experience of playing the game. That's what I'm always going to give you. I'm not going to cut out mistakes. If I make something happen that's stupid, that's staying in there, or make myself look like an idiot, that's staying in there. You know how it goes. That's how we like to do the videos, and most of you indicated that's how you like to see them, so that's going to stay the way it is. And the Beard Boosters make that stuff possible with all of their fantastic support, and everybody donating all the stuff in the live streams. We had 144 gift memberships donated in today's live stream. Today, as of me recording this, on Sunday. So, yeah, you're directly making it possible for me to continue making these videos and getting into other stuff and providing some really, 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 really helpful stability in just my life in general and the other stuff that's very important to me. So thank you sincerely for all of everything. and I hope we can continue doing this for a very, very, very long time and have more fun with the beavers and other stuff as well. So during this time lapse, you may have noticed that we ran out of planks, so you will see me at some point, probably toward the front of the time lapse, go over and fiddle with our plank production just a little bit more to replace those with the more efficient, large versions of that building, and take care of a couple small things as well. Remember, just because a time lapse is happening doesn't mean nothing else can get done. We can spend some time fixing other small problems across the map and continuing to improve things here and there, because it does take a really long time to build all this stuff, especially if, say, for example, your plank production is stalled because you didn't have enough and you didn't think to check before you started plunking down all this other stuff that requires a ton of planks. So just so we're all on the same page with that is what's happening in the background of some of this stuff, and you'll see me take care of some of the trees that are dead because they were flooded the whole time, and then just small things, small improvements, maybe a little bit of aesthetics as well over by the beaver housing, because every little thing matters. And if I took the time to do that all in one-time speed gameplay, then, well, we'd be here until about 2028, and I don't think this series needs to last that long. Making good use of the time as much as we can, and just getting everything done in a little bit faster and more convenient fashion for everybody. But all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this time-lapse, and we're going to see what these beavers got up to and if we actually have any bots going right now. Okay, so as you can see, they have not finished building everything yet, but what they have finished building is our very first bot. Take a look down here at Emberbot 1. Just kind of chilling. Got nothing going on. So let's give our very, very first bot job out. And I believe it's going to be prudent for us to do that on the assembler. We have 10,410 science, and it takes 10,000 science to unlock that, which means our buddy Emberpelt 1, there you go, Emberbot 1, can go ahead and get going on that. And it looks like this is hopefully going to continue getting things set up. I know we have a lot of planks that are not over here to build the rest of this, but that is something that just takes time. I did put this other large lumber mill in, so it should be eventually catching up. I don't want to overbuild lumber production while we probably aren't going to need that production later on, so I'm willing to wait a little bit to see if it equals out. But like I was saying, stuff just takes time. And all of this is going to be worth it in the end when this is fully set up and it looks pretty nice. All said and done, nicely contained, and keeping space available for us to do other stuff with. But guess what? By the time we get through a little bit of next episode, the Badwater rig is going to be available for use as well. And that's going to be exciting, because that means we can continue pumping over here. And we can make it so that this district is just about ready to be independent. So other stuff I took care of during the time-lapse that I didn't really necessarily narrate. I did say I was going to do something about these trees, but I also unplanted them, quote-unquote, so they can start spreading again naturally. Now that this is all taken care of, this lumberjack flag can be replaced again with the gatherer flag, so that will be good to go. And like I said, I did adjust a little bit of this stuff. And obviously we have a drought coming in, and this has remained a non-issue because I just left this open. So we're going to get that fixed. I've got some other theories. I know you guys do as well. A lot of you have left some pretty helpful and insightful comments on that regard. But again, I thought this episode would be better focused on just getting bots started. We're not done. We're nowhere close to done, but the process has begun. We do have a bot, and we are ready to continue into the next phase of this playthrough. Again, thanks very much for watching. I know we already did our episode ending stuff, so I don't need to repeat all that. Just know that I'm very glad you're here. You're important to me, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Whatever it is you're doing, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you back on this playthrough on Friday. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.